We need to be able to see your face hole. Hello, Travis.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
So, we just finished dinner, and Buffalo Wild Wings, your dicks. They changed this special from any wings that you want to be half price to only boneless wings to be half price.
You know what else is good, boneless?
What?
Pizza.
Pizza is good boneless, but
Yeah.
you need to have the chicken crust pizza. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the future of pizza.
Just as long as it's boneless.
Yeah, I don't like the boneless because the crust is always too thick, and
it really sucks that you don't keep up with memes.
What?
Because that's hilarious to me.
Is it? I might keep up. I don't know the memes.
Well, you obviously didn't because you didn't laugh at boneless.
Anyway.
The moment's gone and you suck.
I kind of feel like starting the show right there. Boom. The moment's gone and you suck. We put our usual order of wings in on Tuesday because, a deal, right? Except they have to be the boneless wings. And usually what happens is I get a large because I'm a fatty, right? But that's all I eat is the wings. And then the wife usually gets 6 that have sauce on them. And usually she can't eat all 6 wings because she doesn't like hot stuff. Well, I guess today, because...
Then why doesn't she just not get the hot ones?
Well, she doesn't get the hot... Okay, so she gets mild.
And that's too hot for her?
And in her mind, that's too hot for her. Oh, here they come. Damn. So, I told you I was
white people.
So, I guess the hot sauce gets sucked into the breading when you have boneless wings because it's so thick.
Yeah.
And now it's too hot for her. So
they
now
marinate it there.
So now I basically have a whole box of chicken wings to eat after the show.
Well, at least we both had chicken today.
I bet you did. A mouthful of the...
Oh, did you not see my post from Walmart?
I did. I did. You can save that for the story at the end. How's that sound? However, this is ironically not a podcast about chicken. This is a podcast about magical gatherings.
Yeet.
I don't know, whatever. Two Trolls and a True, episode 96, Frontier is Hard. He's Travis, I'm Samus. Subtitle, Asleep at the Wheel.
Okay, no, Frontier isn't hard. You just gotta play goblins.
Maybe. That's what I'm starting to come to conclusions to. That, we'll get to the conclusions in a minute. How about troll cards?
Okay.
Do you have a troll card this week?
Sunmare.
Because your stuff is broken, you can't do it. Sunmare?
Yeah, the crested Sunmare.
Isn't that the legend that when you gain a life, you make a horsey?
Is it legendary?
It may not be legendary. I may have put words in its mouth.
All right, so...
But that's the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Cool.
So, funny story about that. In my last 3 limited events, I had the crested Sunmare in all 3 events.
It sounds an awful lot like shenanigan cheating to me, sir.
Yeah, well, I mean, 2 of them were in Denver and 1 of them was here in Rapid.
So convenient cheating, then.
Yeah, pretty much. What was it? Okay, so in Denver, the troll card, pack one, you just build around it. You just grab every angel that gains you 3 life, and then you just grab all the enchantments that say gain life. You grab the creatures that the camel, the white camel. I can't remember its name, but it has lifelink if you control a desert or there's one in your graveyard.
Right.
Yeah, busted.
Is this the nut combo? The almond cat or the not almond cat? Hour combo.
Yep. And also, Overcome. Great card to have in Limited.
Overcome is the nut. Absolutely insane. So,
Especially after you, like,
go ahead.
you build up your horse army.
Your camel army?
No, the horse army.
Okay.
The
So,
humpless camels.
real fast. Did you create another Google account named Kevin Smith to troll me while I'm doing the podcast?
No.
Because Kevin Smith here is like spamming anti-Christian rhetoric.
Okay.
And, it's kind of crazy.
Well,
so thanks, Kevin, for being part of the show.
My hands are here.
Joke's on you, son.
Yeah, joke's on you. He's had to deal with me like for the past decade and a half.
That's right. Woo! All right. So that sounds good. Like, so how did you do in Denver, real fast? Like with your horse armies?
Well, do your troll cards, and then we'll talk about Denver.
Oh, okay. So this week, my troll card is Active Heroism. In case you don't know or you live under a rock, it is a white spell for 2 mana that is an instant. It untaps a creature. It gets +2/+2 to end the turn. It can block an additional creature this turn. This card is ridiculous. There's so many times that this card alone, let's not say won me the game, but put me in a position where if I didn't draw every land in my deck, I could win the game. So, at least twice, my opponent had the 7/7 worm from Amonkhet that cycles for 2. I forget what it's called.
Okay. Yeah, the one that can't be blocked by 2 or less.
Right. But I had the 3/7 crocodile that has hexproof.
6/7.
And at least twice, if not 3 times, my opponent, in some way, shape, or form, got this worm back on the table as a 7/7 and attacked me. And every time he did, I had the Active Heroism to kill his guy and keep my guy alive. Which in and of itself isn't bad. But I also was able to do the sweet exert the cat to make 2 cats, untap it with Active Heroism, block 2 things, and exert it again.
Okay.
To make the cat ginormous. So yeah, I really like this card, and I don't know. It's just a good card. It's just good. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Draft it. My opponents kept they never they would run through combat possibilities. They never mentioned this card, but they would mention like Mighty Leap. Right. I don't know if that's just because they're so used to the previous set. Like there's 2 packs of Active Heroism in an hour of Devastation draft.
Right.
There's only 1 pack of Mighty Leap, so. And I just think Active Heroism does so much. Like untap the creature and it can block an extra dude. That's way better than flying for 1 turn.
Yeah.
So take it highly. Take it often. I don't know. My draft didn't go that great this week. But I'm excited to hear about your Denver stories.
Yeah, okay, so with the Denver events, I only did 2 events because like I just wanted to screw around in Denver. So I got lost downtown and if you
Got a hooker.
Oh, yeah.
Male prostitutes for hire.
Yep. But so I did a draft and I went 2-1 with that. And the guy that beat me, he opened a Frank Sanity Pack 1, and so did I.
Okay.
The only difference is that I passed mine. And then it made it to him. So he had 2 Frank Sanities in his deck, and he beat me.
Well, I'd imagine that could be okay.
Yeah, no, it was pretty busted considering like he got the 2 Frank Sanities, 2 Ipnir Rivlets, and then basically a bunch of control and creatures with fat butts that you can't get through. So I was like, all right, dude.
Seems fair.
Solid. Yeah, like nobody else was taking the control. He was just blue black, and he had like the what were the 3 moaning walls, the 0-5 zombies.
That
So
cycles.
he
That
had
guy's great.
yeah, he had 3 of those and like 2 of the artifact wall, the 0-4s for 2 mana.
Oh, that guy's
So,
also really good.
yeah, so he was just sitting there like behind his Trump fantasy land, and couldn't get past it.
Walls from ocean to ocean.
Pretty much. So yeah, I went 2-1 with that. Got 100 ticks, which is basically like in-game currency that they create
Right.
and monitor however they want.
To let you get stuff off the prize wall.
Right. And I went in that draft. I went green, white, and black, mainly because it was just so hard to read everything.
That's a clan. It's
Abzan.
Abzan.
Yeah. Well, I went Abzan, and I got Overcome and Crested Sunmare. Okay. Then I went to the Sealed, and I went 3-0-1, and we basically just drew because it was 10 o'clock at night, and neither one of us wanted to play Magic anymore. So we're just like, you just want to draw and like split the prize. He's like, yeah, no, that's way better than playing anymore. And
we only came to the hugest event of the season in our area. I don't want to actually play the magical gatherings.
But then, so we did that, and in the Sealed event, I was like, okay, so I have Ronus's Last Stand, and then I have a bunch of green things. Then I looked at my red pool, there's nothing there. Looked at my blue pool, there's nothing there. I looked at my black pool, I was like, all right, so I have quite a few zombies. Maybe I can like do some sort of black-green zombie tribal. And then I went to the white pool. Yeah, there's like, but then I went to the white pool. Crested Sunmare, Angel of Sanctions.
Oh, the deck's over.
And I'm just like, okay, it's green-white. Let's do this. Went 3-0-1 with that.
Yeah,
and
sounds
then
good.
Yeah, so I ended up getting like total for everything was like 370 tickets.
Which got you.
So I bought a like a messenger bag, like from Ultra Pro, and so I bought that, and I got 27 packs because there's nothing else that I wanted.
That sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah, and
they didn't have like any giant cards or anything that you thought would be cool.
They did, but I couldn't afford them.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Like, what are the prices on those kind of things?
Yeah, because there was actually a vendor who was offering $600 for the giant Nicol Bolas card, and that was on the prize wall. And I was just like, oh man, I need to, like, if it wasn't 10 o'clock, I would have like grinded for it and got it and then sold it to the vendor, because I was like, okay, yeah, $600, whatever, that'll pay for whatever I'm grinding. But then, like, I looked up the price of the messenger bag, and on the Ultra Pro website itself, it's $80. And obviously 27 packs, I mean, even if we go at like $2 a piece, that's still 40. So that's like $120.
Sounds
and
like head.
Yeah, and I only paid $50, like 20 for the draft, 30 for the sealed. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, I totally made a head on this.
Yeah, sounds good.
And then, let's see, we were heading home on Sunday.
Half asleep, from what I understand.
Well, yeah, I'm always half asleep when I'm on the road. But the traffic was garbage, just absolutely the worst thing on the planet, because everybody was trying to make it to Casper, Wyoming.
Oh, right, because they had the big camp out there, right?
Yeah, well, that was directly in the like the perfect spot in Wyoming to actually see the eclipse, where you didn't have to leave town,
Right.
in order to see it. So everybody was going to Casper. Unfortunately, from Denver to Casper, there's only one highway, and it shoots down to a 1-lane or to a 2-lane highway.
I mean,
And it was
happens.
Yeah, it was just the absolute worst because everybody was like, "Oh, it's 70 miles an hour. All right, let's go ahead and drive 50." Cool, guys. Thanks, old people. And
well, I tend to drive under the speed limit too, but usually
yeah, but not 20 miles.
I was gonna say usually like half a mile under the speed limit. I'm like Captain Don't Get Pulled Over guy.
Right.
I hate it.
But then yeah, so it turned our 6-hour drive into about a 8-hour drive, and
Still, that's not the worst.
It was BS because we were trying to make it back in time for SummerSlam.
I don't know what it is, but okay.
It's a wrestling pay-per-view.
Okay.
One of my buddies was throwing it because he likes wrestling, and he was like, "Free food." I'm like, okay.
There you go. That's what you had to say. Free food.
Yep. But then yesterday went to go play draft, and Pack 1 was Crested Sunmare. I'm like, all right, let's see what I'm doing with this. So I mean, I picked it.
I guess
can't not
on
pick
the
that.
plus side, you can send me 3 of them.
I could
in the mail for me.
Yeah, because I have all 3 of them. I think they're sitting right here.
You have a bunch.
But yeah. But yeah, I was just like, all right, let's see where I can go with this. All 3 of my brand new Crested Sunmares. And then the person to my left or to my right passed me Ronus's Last Stand. I'm like, let's do this.
I like that card. Like, the more I play it, all of the last words, the more I like them. Like, they're very strong effects for, with a little bit of pre-planning, a pretty small cost.
Right.
So, I mean, even the blue one, which I think is the most expensive at 4 mana, and also the most expensive in the thought that blue doesn't like keeping its mana tapped all the time.
Right.
Like, it's still, like, ridiculous. So, I don't know. My draft this week was disappointing. Like, I feel like I had the best deck at the draft. Like, I opened up a Pride Sovereign, Pack 1. Got past the Devotee of Strength, Pack 2. Got, I don't know, like, I was 5 or 6 cards deep in good green cards before I had to pick another color card. Like, I mean, I was on track to be like a mono green deck, splashing white for the activations of the thing. I ended up moving into white, obviously, pretty easily because I had the, I picked up the active heroisms and stuff like that as combat tricks. And, like, I felt like my deck was pretty reasonable. I had a couple of black cards that I splashed for. Like, mostly just the Wandering Death. Like, it was a relatively free splash to put in. I think I had like an Evolving Wilds and to go get whatever land and put it into play tapped. Like, all those guys cycle, so it felt relatively free to me to put those in. But I went ahead and I decided to play 17 lands, and there was literally one game where I counted my lands, and I tell my opponent, "Wow, I've only got 2 lands left in my deck." He goes, "Cool, that means that we should definitely be," and he just wiped the board, right? And he goes, "Well, is the top of your deck better than mine?" I go, "Well, I don't know, but I've only got 2 lands left in my deck, so I hope so."
I guess we'll find out.
I hope so. I draw 3 lands in a row. And I'm like, what the hell? And I recounted, and I had 14 lands in the battlefield, not 15. So I drew the next 3 lands in the row. And then I drew the card that goes and finds a land, which thankfully I could cycle and drew a not land. But yeah, it was just one of those one of those Fridays for me. It just felt like it didn't matter how good my deck was. I was just going to flood out super bad. I kept like a 2-drop, a combat spell, and a removal spell, and lands. And which I knew I was a little shaky on keeping like a 4-lander or whatever. But I thought, well, I've got to draw something. I literally drew nothing but lands until my opponent killed me. Like, I now understand. Like, I do the what that video told you to do for like a purely random deck, right? So like a ripple shuffle and then what they call the Las Vegas cut between ripple shuffles 7 times. Like, yeah. I do that, and I'm meticulous, and I count out loud. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to make sure that my deck is randomized. But I just felt like every single match this week was like that. And the games that the games or the matches that I won, it felt like I lost in spite of the fact that I drew half as many cards as my opponent, because half of, every other card or every third card or whatever was an actual card, not a land. I was just like, what is up, deck? And I had cyclers, and I was cycling. Like, I didn't feel like I had made a bunch of mistakes, other than the fact that I should have had 14 lands in my deck, according to how I was drawing lands.
Right.
I don't know. I was aggravated. I said it was a great curve with a good top, a good middle. Like, unlike last week that I won feeling like the only card in my deck was a Pride Sovereign. Like, Pride Sovereign was just a good card in my deck. Like I had the Hexproof guy. I had the 5/6 Trample Cycle guy. I had Wander in Death to like regrow 2 things. I had the 2-mana guy that like exerts to make a 1/1. My opponents just wouldn't let it sit on the field. Like, I could play it on turn 2, they'd kill it. I regrow it back like on turn 11, and something else insane like the 5/6, and they'd kill the 2/2 instead of the 5/6. I'm like, okay, well, I'll make some magic happen with this, and like just beat you to death with a 5/6, and you killed the 2/2 instead. Oh, I couldn't deal with an army of 1/1s. I don't know. It was insane to me all draft. So all I know for sure is that unless you have like the most aggressive green deck on the planet, just be the guy who takes the open deck at the table. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody at our table is drafting blue cards. Like, literally nobody. And we started joking about it like you do around, I don't know what, pick 5 or 6. I don't know what your tables are like, but that's how my tables are. We start joking. Like, oh, someone should move into blue. It's totally open. No one ever does. Whatever. Well, Riley started moving into blue. He's like, well, shit, no one else is going to take blue. I'll take blue. He started sucking up all the good blue cards. And his deck was also very, very good. He ended up losing in the finals. But, like, his deck, I would have played it as well. It was all, like, flash flying creatures and permanent and or temporary removal spells, and that Riddle Form card. I haven't got to play with it yet. The enchantment that becomes a 3/3 flyer.
Yeah, no, Riddle Form is busted. Like, so last night, one of the dudes was having a dilemma of taking Riddle Form over No Mercy, the invocation. Oh. Yeah. Like
he assumed that he was going to win the draft that much harder with Riddle Form.
Yep. Every time you pick like pick one Riddle Form, you basically just win the game if you just build the all spells deck.
I have to keep that in mind. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to play with one yet at all. Like, I guess I could build one in a standard deck or something, but I haven't done that. But I don't know. I just was like, well, it seems good. Well, I think that covers our limited and stuff, right? We're good?
Yeah.
Sweet. So I have 2 topics mapped up this week. Can't beat them, join them, ? And Frontier Mana. They're both involved Frontier. What do you want to talk about first?
Beat them.
Okay, so I threw together what I think is a pretty good little deck list for Frontier. I sent it to you, and you were like, "Oh my god, that seems great." Was that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can. There we go. So this is the picture I sent Travis. It's Elvish Mystics, 2 Honored Hierarchs, a River Hoopty, 3 Reflector Mages, an Angel of Condemnation, Baby Nissa, Jace, and Liliana, Tireless Tracker, 3 Siege Rhinos, the Black Gear Hulk, Nauseous Gear Hulk, I think.
Yeah.
1 Dragon Lord Slumgar, 1 Scarab God, and 1 Gaunty. And then for the spells package, I've got 4 Fatal Push, 4 Eerie Interludes, 3 Chords of Calling, 3 Eldritch Evolutions, and 2 Panharmonicons. Is the spell list? And this is for Frontier. I thought it looked okay. The problem is the guys I went to playtest with against last night, and they were playing their standard decks, right? They all had like 16 removal spells main deck.
Yeah, aggro's a heavy format.
Well, and these guys were, yes. So there are 2 different decks. One's the black-white aggro deck, or sorry, not black-white aggro, black-white control deck. So you're talking like mono removal spells, like 2 Gideons and 2 Lilianas. Basically are your win conditions.
Yeah.
Maybe like 1 Acroma.
Chroma. Good luck with that one in standard.
What's the angel I'm looking for? The life or the Advison, sorry. Advison. The flash one that gives indestructible for the turn.
Yeah.
So like one of her. Like, so you're not talking about a ton of win conditions that you have to worry about with this deck. And it's just mono removal spells. So I was like, all right, well, I'll play the Elvish Mystic. I'll play another Elvish Mystic. I'll play Noble Hierarch. I'll play all this stuff. Eventually run you out of removal spells, and just, no, never happened. I eventually ended up ahead against that opponent, mostly due to the fact that Panharmonicon plus Gaunty is good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize that. And if you Panharmonicon and then Gaunty, but you also keep up Eerie Interlude for the person's removal spell, and you Eerie Interlude Gaunty, like that's also very good. Like that's how I won those games against my opponent, which makes me think maybe I should just play like a mono black deck that's Panharmonicon, Gaunties, Fatal Pushes, just like good creatures with coming to the battlefield triggers, and just try to be the getcha.
Right. There's that 6-drop dude that you can either fabricate 3.
Right, and then talking about.
Yeah, then when an artifact dies or something, then they lose life equal to its power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like Panharmonicon with that dude, it's like, I'm gonna make 3 dudes and I'm gonna put 3 counters on him. And then if like they try to kill him or something, you just sacrifice off some artifacts and then make them lose like minimum 4 life.
Well, I was thinking, okay, maybe I wouldn't really be mono black. Maybe I'd be like black blue for Slumgar. Like that card's very good, it seems to me. Like Steal 2 guys.
Okay.
These are mine now. But I said Gaunty just felt so good. And there has to be more good black or blue Enter the Battlefield triggers, right? Like it just feels like there has to be. Plus, of course, you have all the spells in the Bloody World to choose from. I don't know. The mana is so hard. So then the other person was playing a colorless black, like desert-based deck.
Okay.
And again, both of these decks that I was playing was standard legal, and basically he just completely done. Like the other guy, I was able to pull ahead in overall matches, but Nathan just completely crushed me in playtesting. It was just, I mean, the fact that he's running all of the It Clear Deadlands, or however you pronounce it. So he's running those, all the same removal spells that the other deck was playing, basically. Plus, of course, your lands turn into removal spells, plus 2 Blighted Fins at least.
Okay.
I just felt like I couldn't keep a creature on the battlefield. So eventually I got to the point where I was using Eerie Interludes to like save a creature for a turn. It just felt completely insane to me. Again, the games that I won against Nathan was a game where I like double gaunted with a Panharmonicon, or I like stole 2 creatures with a Dragonlord Slumgar. I don't know. Maybe I should just be playing Dragon/Gaunty deck. I don't know. Frontier's hard, man. The mana seems amazing until you really get into the nitty-gritty of it. I don't know if there's a way that I can like pull this up on the back of the Gathering back. Yeah, here we go. So I'll just pull up a card here real quick. The card back. Lock it down. So the mana in Frontier seems very solid, right? So I'm not. Can you see my mouse on the screen? You can't.
No.
Okay. So you'll just have to, with the fetch lands and the dual lands that we have in Standard, right? You can basically play 4 colors. But whatever the top of the Pentagon is, as you rotate the Pentagon, the very top of the Pentagon is out, and you can play the other 4 colors. So, for example, if you were to cut the white out of the deck, you could easily play green, red, black, and blue with the fetch lands and the fetch lands that you have access to.
Okay.
Okay, and then if you go, I did the math yesterday. If you're only going to use 2 sets, or no, sorry, and the fetch lands that you have to like make those wedges or whatever you want to call it bucket work would be the opposite. So like if you weren't going to run red, or sorry, again, keeping white. If you weren't going to run white, then your fetch lands would be based around red and black. Right? So you could have the green red fetch land, or the black red black fetch land. You'd also have access to the red or the black and blue fetch lands. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
I'm trying to say. So like the mana it seems really hard when you want to cast Elvish Mystic on turn 1, right? And you want to cast Siege Rhino on turn 4, because the way the buckets line up, your colors, whatever you cut, doesn't make your primary color enable what you want to do. Does this make sense? If your goal is to cast like Elvish Mystic on turn 1, so you can drop a Siege Rhino on turn 3. Did I make sense? Is my point there?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not sure what to do. Like my first
cut blue.
Well, that would be fine, right? I could cut blue, which means.
But I want to play Baby Jason. Blah blah blah.
Well, no. I've actually that is one of the things that I've really been thinking about doing, is cutting the blue and going to the Mardu version, because that would, Mardu Green, is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Because that would give me access to the guy or more mana on turn 1 to cast an Elvish Mystic, as well as give me access to Crackling Doom.
Yeah.
As another removal spell. But I do lose what I think are 2 of the strongest cards in the deck, Dragonlord Slumgar and the zombie god. I can't think what his name is now. The Scarab god.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm willing to make that sacrifice. I'm just trying to figure out if the deck even works. If there's so much removal in the format that it doesn't matter, then, like, instead, I could just do the same thing that Nathan's doing. I think the deck is really good. Thought-Knot Seers, Reality Smashers, the 2/1 flyer that you can spend 2 extra mana to edict their guy, and then just all this removal spell. Like, it seems great. You have Urborg to make all these lands into swamps, so you fix both of your mana at the same time. Like, I don't know. I think Nathan accidentally found a very good format, or a very good deck in the format. Gives you completely access to Languish. Has a 4-mana Wrath that basically, I mean, I can't think of anything in the format that lives through that for less than 5 mana. Well, I take that back. The 3
Tasigur.
Oh yeah, Tasigur could see again another card that I didn't even think about that could be sweet if I just played the black and blue version. I don't know. I want to have fun with this. I just don't want to jump over to Goldfish and look at like ridiculous decks in the format and just be like, you know what? I haven't got to play Saheeli Combo in a while, so I'm just going to play Saheeli Combo.deck, which I considered for a minute. I'm not going to lie. I'm not ashamed. I'm not. Like, it looks exactly like what I want to play, right? Elvish Mystics, Reflector Mages, Rogue Refiners. The only card on the list that I don't like is Elder Deep Fiends, and I think those could easily become Quarter Callings. Like, I mean, I just... It seems basically what I played last season, except for I get a Mana Dork and I get Quarter Callings. But how are people going to feel if I show up and like, oh, Saheeli Combo again? You know what I mean? Like, I want the format. I want to have it be a fun format for the arena, but at the same time, like, I want to make sure that I'm having fun playing and not like, well, I wish I sequenced my mana this way instead of this way so I could cast my spells. Which is what I kind of learned yesterday, is that I had a hard time getting my mana to sequence correctly. I don't know. Have you considered playing Frontier lately? Do you guys have a tournament for Frontier down there or anything?
It never fires. Like, every time we've tried to do it, no, like maybe 2-3 people show up. So we all just kind of gave up on it.
Yeah, I don't know. Our guys are just so
flaky.
Well, they're that too, but I was gonna say they're just so they like the modern format. Like, we have a whole group of guys who just modern, which I can understand and respect that logic point, but it's not a format for me. But this is, I think, a good middle ground between the guys who like modern and the guys who like standard, where they can touch. So, like, the modern tournaments, you're going to get 18 people there to play modern, but they only come for modern. And then you're going to get, 10 people or 12 people who show up to play standard, but they won't play modern, or they'll have to play their modern deck in standard, and just like, well, thank goodness this is a free tournament, and at least I have a shot at winning the door prize copy of the promo this week, because they don't play in modern. Well, Frontier, I think, is this nice little niche where the card prices are still cheap, but it's still close enough the guys who play standard every week have the possibility of doing something, and the guys who play modern have the bigger card pool to play with. I don't know. I'm hopeful that it can take off here.
Yeah.
It's probably not big enough yet, and unless I put like a big price tag.
What the hell is all that stomping?
My kid is a wildebeest. He doesn't know how to walk like a person.
No, it sounds like he was jumping.
That's him going up and down the stairs.
Why? He is not that big.
He's not, but he likes to think he's always been like that. This is actually better than he used to be.
Holy
He doesn't know how to walk. He just doesn't. I don't know. I'm gonna, for the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna be really heads down into Frontier for a lot of reasons. One, I want to make sure the guys are aware of the tournament and are excited for it, because that's part of my job. But two, I want to make sure that I have fun with this, and building and experimenting in a format that is not known to me is fun, right? Like,
Says the guy who doesn't play Modern.
it's too big. It's too big for me to kind of get into. That, it's kind of like part of the reason why I don't play Commander is because there's too many cards for me to kind of see how things go. Tiny Leaders was the same way. At least Tiny Leaders was smaller, but even then it felt like it's too big. Like, I had fun exploring it, but it didn't go anywhere. So, I don't know. I also thought the power level of of M15 and newer, specifically like Cons and Origins and so on, is high enough that it should be able to carry a format for a long time. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I know, Travis. That's it. Those are all my notes. Do you have anything you'd like to talk about since you couldn't get the Google Doc open this week to add notes to it?
No, like, I went over everything with Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Did everything with the draft yesterday.
Did anyone find you at the GP? Any listeners?
No.
Man, figures. No one loves us anymore.
Yeah, well, that happens.
It does happen.
So are you a fan of Rick and Morty?
I have never seen an episode of Rick and Morty.
Oh, man, that's too bad.
I hear it would be right up my alley.
Oh, it's so great. So RK Post was there, like he normally is.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's going to totally talk about more GP Denver stuff. All right, keep going.
He made a playmat of Rick and Morty, and it's can you see the whole thing?
I can. I'm even going to lock the screen on you for a minute.
Yeah, so it's Pickle Rick and Morty. Pickle Rick was probably the best the best episode that they've had so far. And yeah, I picked it up just because it was it's damn funny to me.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of clips. I have seen a bunch of clips, but the only one that actually I can remember is it Morty is the kid, right? No. Yeah, okay. Anyway, whoever the kid is, the kid's explaining to a mom or a sister or something. I don't know, that life is worth living because in fact he's from another dimension where he bodies or buried their own corpse, so every day he eats breakfast 20 feet away from his own rotting corpse. I'm like, that's a pretty cool little rant. So I have to see where I can find it.
Go to YouTube.
Is it? Are they
it's on there.
I might look. But yeah, like I said, it's something that has been on my radar for a while, but then I started to get excited for it, and then they were like, yeah, we're still waiting for season 3. I'm like, okay, well, I'll put a pin in this until at least I know that's happening. So, I don't know. Other than that, check out samusgrobo.com for this episode and all other episodes. You can send us an email to trollsbrew@gmail.com. I'm actually waiting for the finalized email for our new sponsor, so hopefully next week we'll have a sponsor. We'll be able to pimp that out, and they reached out to us via twotrollsbrew@gmail.com. Twitch, you can Twitch me or watch me on Twitch, Samus Garobo. The same thing here. I stream daily. You can check that out. Not a ton of Magic right now. I'm kind of I was doing a lot of Magic Duels, and then they decided to kill Magic Duels. So I'm trying to figure out what the next thing for me to stream is that I would like to die, basically. Because I figure that's the safest way for me to end the game. Like, maybe I should go into WoW.
No.
And they'll close the servers.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I think, I'm going to save up money, and once I get a new laptop, I'll just start streaming Magic.
I would like to. It is expensive to play the kind of decks that I'd like to play and keep up with things. Because I would like to draft, constantly, basically, and drafting constantly is expensive. So
Yeah, unless you're good, then you can create infinite currency with that.
Sure, theoretically, as long as the cards that you draft are expensive.
No, with the pack support.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like,
That's true. You can treasure chests or some shenanigans.
right.
Right. Also, you can check Travis out on Twitter, twitter.com/turtlepower319. There are lots of hilarious stories to be found there, including how we're going to end up. Oh, actually, no. I have one more thing before we end this show. One more thing before your awesome story.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about doing a different facial beard grooming style.
Okay.
And I think they call it the Lincoln beard. And that's where you don't have a mustache, but you have your beard, and you kind of you trim the bushiness down a little bit. What do you think? Can a fat guy pull off the Lincoln beard?
Have you know Hazleton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does it all the
pull
time.
off very well, though.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's kind of what I'm saying.
Oh, it can't be done, is what you're saying.
Not by a fat dude.
What if I pretend to be Amish?
Well, then I expect to see you in a goofy hat. Nope, not that one. It has to be like a top hat.
A top. I have a bowler.
That's not a top hat.
You tell your story. I'm gonna put one of my weird hats on.
The chicken story?
Yeah, tell me the chicken story when I put this hat on.
So, I went to Walmart today to get my weekly shopping done because it's easier to not deal with people for more than a week at a time. And so when I was there, I was walking to the checkout, and then right there was I smelled chicken, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get some chicken. And I'm like, oh sweet, they have different options. I can get eight legs for 98 cents a piece. Like that's not a bad deal. So I go up to the counter, and I look at the lady. I was like, hey, I want eight drumsticks. And she goes, oh, the 8 pieces are down below. And I'm like, so I looked down there. I was like, okay, none of those are what I want. She's like, you want 8 pieces? I was like, yeah, I want 8 drumsticks. She's like, well, what's wrong with those? I was like, so I pick it up. I was like, all right, here, take out 6 pieces that aren't drumsticks and put in 6 drumsticks. And she goes, well, I can't do that. And I'm like, well, then get me a new effing container and put 8 drumsticks in there. And she's like, sir, there's no need for that language. And I'm like, well, there's no reason for you to be effing incompetent. And then I pushed the chicken off the counter. Like, I was so fed up, I just pushed it off the counter. And I'm like, now you have to pick that up because you're effing worthless. And then, like, she just looks at me, and I grab a different 8 piece of chicken because I was getting chicken regardless. But I was just mad. So I grab another 8 piece and I just walk off. And I'm like, this is why I don't go places when I'm hungry. Because I get irritated even more than normal when I'm hungry. And then people are stupid.
True that. So you don't like my Knight's hat? I bet you could eat some fine chicken in your own Knight's hat.
Yeah, not in the summertime, though. That'd be too hot.
Oh, man. Chivalry's not dead unless you complain about being hot.
Actually, I'm kind of glad chivalry is dead. Because, man, have you ever looked up the codes of chivalry?
Oh, man, there's so many.
They're so awful.
You might as well be a paladin.
Like, it's basically like everyone's beneath you unless they're a knight. And you have to treat them like peasants. What?
Honestly, if we think about it, don't we kind of anyway? That was your opportunity to say yep and troll on.
No. I like to think that I treat everybody equally until they prove to me that they are completely stupid, and then at that point I decide that I'm going to act like a knight towards them, which, means that I'm just going to treat you like garbage and tell you to God damn it.
I'm here.
That hat. Yeah, I know. I I lost my train of thought because of how dumb you look. Troll on, everybody.
Troll on, everybody. Have a good week.